Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So this is my third stream. And tonight, got to talk about this Bitcoin and crypto pump. And one person gives a thumb up, or thumbs up. Fed Chair Powell, he said some things today that made people hopeful, cheerful, and started buying. So let's talk about what was said today, what's going on with this pump, will it last, and let's talk about everything else that's going on. So welcome, guys. Oh, let me fix this screen real quick. So right now, Bitcoin is at 23.9. This morning we started at 23. During the meeting, it started going down, 22. Right now, we went back up afterwards, and 24, we hit 24.2, right? It hit that resistance to the T. Remember, I said this 22.3 is the next big resistance we need to break. And if we could break through that, 30,000 is right around the corner, right? But like clockwork, it was rejected the first time. We will probably hit it a couple more times before breaking through. So it's looking pretty darn good. The entire crypto market cap went up nearly 1.1 trillion, up about 4%, but there are some major movers. For example, look at Polygon, over 10%. Avalanche at 13%. Cosmos at 10% today. Major movers today. That's fantastic. This is what we want to see, right? You look at the U.S. market tomorrow, tech is leading the way, but today, tech definitely led the way. Dow barely in the green, but look at NASDAQ went up 2%. 2%, and surprisingly enough, Metaverse did report, and they went up pretty good. But it's not just them. Coinbase went up, Tesla went up, everyone went up today, right? Also, DXY is falling. We're at 100 now. We've been hovering at 102 for quite some time. We have broke a trend, and we started heading down. This is also very, very positive for markets. When the strength of the dollar starts decreasing, people take their money and they go spend it with assets, with equities, right? And the more DXY falls, the better it is for Bitcoin and crypto and tech on, risk on assets, right? So this also started happening today after Jerome Powell had his press conference, and most of you guys joined me while he was talking, right? But bottom line, to summarize, he said what I expected. I told you guys what I was expecting, and he basically said it in much more words than I did. So 25 basis points overall. That's really good. So we're up to 4.5% for our federal fund rate. Okay, not too shabby, better than a 4.75. But overall, he said, hey, our job is not done. We're going to continue forward. But he's open. He's going to reevaluate his mind during the next FOMC meeting, which is in the end of March. He's open to the fact that maybe we can still bring inflation down without destroying the labor market and without forcing unemployment to go up. That's the big thing. He had some dovish moments. He said some very bullish things, but he tried to hide it with hawkish tone. He kept going in circles, but this is the first time since I've been covering these FOMC meetings where he gave notion that, hey, maybe we have done enough. Maybe we don't need to be so aggressive anymore. Maybe we'll evaluate and decide that we don't need to raise rates anymore or raise it slower, right? This is the first time he became somewhat dovish. Even though he had a hawkish tone, I know it's hard to. You have to read in between the lines. If you watched the press conference today and it was the very first one, you're like, I have no idea what he's saying, right? But for me, I've listened through it like a dozen of them, And I know exactly what he's saying. I know exactly what he's feeling, right? And this is the reason why market went up today, because if you could read in between the lines and you could get a sense of what he's really saying, it's a very bullish thing. And this sets the tone for the remainder of the year. Okay, U.S. economy is not collapsing. It's softened, but still quite strong. Inflation is coming down, right? And investors are feeling better about it after being decimated for an entire year. Now we have some hope that we can actually recover, right? It was a good press conference. It was a good press conference. Good afternoon, night overall. It's not over. We still have some days left in this week. And of course, crypto, Bitcoin never sleeps. So we got more. We got more movement, that's for sure. Some people have asked me about Michael Burry. What do you think about Michael Burry saying sell the day before the FOMC meeting? And guess what? He has deleted his account now. Okay? Michael Burry, unfortunately, yes, he had a right call with the housing market, but ever since then, he's been negative Nancy, ultra bear, no matter what, right? And he probably wrecked himself. He probably had a big short once again, and he guessed wrong. He guessed wrong. He got it completely wrong. So wrong, he doesn't even want to hear people saying, I told you so. He just deleted his entire account. Not just the tweet, the entire account. That's how bad it got. That's how bad it got from Michael Burry. Okay, so in case people are wondering. Okay, now moving on to some good Bitcoin stuff. Bitcoin versus S&P, breaking out a trend line. We kind of know this already. Bitcoin has broken above its trend line. It's like 13-month trend line, right? Has broken out. It's moving up. That's fantastic, right? But S&P is also doing that, right? So that's fantastic. And I'm sure NASDAQ will be doing that in the near future, especially as people come back to risk-on assets, because the risk-on assets are the ones that were the most sold off in 2022. Of course, we have a lot of basic indicators, top bottoms, right? Oversold levels. I've shown so many charts over the last year about us getting close to the bottom, reaching bottom, and now flipping above from bottom. That's exactly what's happening, right? It's quite simple to look at. So there's that. What else is there? This is actually the inverse. If you were looking at this and you're a bear, you're like, oh, watch out. Watch out. It's a rising pennant. It's about to dump. But what you don't realize is tech dev inversed it, right? So the bears are saying, oh, it's going to actually dump, but it's actually, this is looking like it's going to pump. There are more people that are thinking that Bitcoin by May, June timeframe could actually hit $50,000. And this supports that case, because this is a textbook pattern where you have a rising wedge after falling, and then you fall some more. But this is in reverse, okay? So just think about it. This is in reverse. So if it does fall, the farther it falls, that means the higher Bitcoin goes. So from a technical perspective, it's also looking better and better with every single pump, with every single trend line being broken, with golden crosses being formed, and all this good stuff. Good stuff. And let's not forget the holders. What makes this possible are the holders, which keep increasing their holdings. They keep buying and holding and DCAing and buying, holding, DCAing. So the holder wave is all-time high. Holders are all-time high. Address is all-time high. The shrimps, the sharks, the dolphins, the minnows, the whales, all the holders are going upwards. And institutions are also getting in too. They don't want to be left out. In fact, I would argue they started buying even when we were low, around 16,000, 17,000. They were stocking up. It's not a coincidence that BlackRock said, okay, we're going to enter a space when it's low. That means they've already done it. Same thing with Fidelity, and same thing with all these other major financial institutions. They've been stocking up. With Jamie Dimon being so negative, right? His firm, JP Morgan, continues to offer Bitcoin to their wealthiest clients and continue to offer crypto trading and custody for their wealthy institutional clients too, right? So all these big boys have been getting in as well, but trying to fake you out, trying to make you sell, right? It's not working though. It's not working. So all these things are looking good, guys. Short term, can Bitcoin come down a little bit? Can it retrace a little bit after going up? Sure, of course it could happen. But overall, long run, we are looking good as we start this new year. We're starting a new month as we get closer and closer to the next halving event. And with the macro conditions improving and the Fed not being so hawkish, all signs point one direction, and that is up as we move further in this year. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Now, besides Bitcoin, let's talk about a little crypto, little altcoins. A couple projects I haven't covered that's been doing quite well. So I wanted to do a little research to see what's going on with them. I don't see that much. I think it's just a lot of enthusiasm right now over a lot of oversold projects. But one of them is a layer 2. And I've noticed it's at number 7 on the DeFi Llama chains list in terms of most TVL locked in due to DeFi, right? And that happens to be Optimism. Optimism has been going up quite a lot. So Optimism was released, I think like a couple years ago. It's a layer 2. There's a ton of layer 2s out there. But I've noticed that they haven't been going up. So what's going on with Optimism? Well, they're layer 2, like I said. So they're just bringing on a whole bunch of dApps, and this is their entire ecosystem. And you go through here, well, you'll recognize some names. For example, Uniswap. Uniswap, yes, is on Optimism. 1inch also on Optimism. SushiSwap, these are all DEXs, major DEXs. Also, Optimism compatible with Coinbase Wallet, with MetaMask, okay? Obviously with Coinbase and Binance because both list Optimism. And then you have other DeFi projects like Aave, Synapsis, Alchemy, which is a big partnership for them. And then you go down the list. There's a lot more. Beefy's another one, right? So they've been forming a lot of partnerships and a lot of dApps, Ethereum-based dApps, coming aboard to Optimism because they want to save on fees and make it very cheap for users when they make a transaction, right? So I think that's part of it. Of course, that's part of it. There's another part is they are planning on upgrading something they label Bedrock, which will make them more efficient overall. It's going to make them just better overall, right? So there could be a lot of enthusiasm over this as well. So, I mean, overall, when it comes to chains, I think one of the biggest criteria to look at if you're unsure is look at how much TVL there is, okay? Basically, liquidity locked in on that chain. So it's no surprise that Ethereum definitely leads the way, right? But then you look at some of these other ones, and you're like, okay, how much is actually locked in, right? And then you kind of dive in and look at it. Like Arbitrum is another L2, but they don't have a token yet. Polygon, something I'm a big fan of. Avalanche, big fan of. Phantom, big fan of. Phantom has been doing really well, right? So Optimism, I do think it's just a combination of growing DeFi ecosystem, enthusiasm over L1s, L2s right now, right? And their upgrade. So I think that's the reason why they're moving higher. Now, the next one I want to talk about is not an L1 or L2, and it's actually a project that I've never been fond of, and that's Render. Render has been going up to the moon recently, and people have asked anything going on with Render, right? Render is a project that basically shares GPU rendering. Okay, that's why it's called Render. So you could actually say, if you had a whole bunch of GPUs, you could actually rent it out to people that want to use it to, I don't know, do 3D render or something like that and earn some Render tokens, right? So they have been going up to the moon, and I'm wondering why, right? Looking at recent news, they do have an Octane app that was actually just listed on the iOS store. It's available on iPad and iPhone, and actually climbed the charts quite a lot once it was released, right? So it's been out for a while, but it's been climbing the ranks, and people think that because it's on the Apple App Store, there may be some kind of Apple integration in the future. That's really stretching it, but at least they do have a growing dApp system, and of course you could use it on your desktop and so forth, right? That's good. But also what I think is happening is they do have something else that's going on, and that is due to their proposed upgrade. They call it RNP001, which would actually change the way that people pay for services. Before, if you wanted to borrow GPU time, you had to pay everything in render tokens, like number of render tokens. Like, for example, if you wanted to borrow it for 1 minute, you had to pay 1 render token, right? It's in render equivalency. But they're trying to change that to dollar equivalency because it just makes more sense that way. Because if render tokens go up, less people are incentivized to use it to pay for GPU renting, right? That's why they're changing that. They're also making a burn process that's involved with that. So I think that's the reason why people think that that's going to be big. And plus, you know, it does seem like a lot of people do like the project. So I think that's the reason why. I can't really find anything else. This Apple relationship just really has to do with their app, their Octane app on the iOS. But just thought I'd mention it. For me, oh, there's also rumors because they're on Ethereum right now, which isn't the greatest for congestion and fees. So they may look at an L2 like Optimism or Polygon. But rumors are that they may go to Solana. It hasn't been announced yet, but it makes sense that they move to another chain for now that will be more cost-effective and faster. So there's that as well. So yeah, I looked up those 2 projects, but you know, as for the staples like Polygon, the NFT sales top Ethereum for the 2nd straight month, and you have a whole bunch of brands that are selling their NFTs, and there's more that's coming to Polygon. So this is no surprise at all. Polygon continues to move forward, and recently they just announced a big fund manager that will be tokenizing a whole bunch of the assets on top of Polygon. So Polygon is a layer 2, L1, L2, but one of the biggest, and I still believe that they are going to go very far, and today they're up 10%. So that's good. Also, let's not forget Ethereum. Their supply reaches all-time low after the merge. Just take a look at that. Because there's more and more people using DeFi or sending tokens or using liquidity pools, whatever the case may be, the more and more people that get on Ethereum, the more burning there is, and there's very little issuance, and you could see it is now down 6,500 ETH. And if this bull run starts, well, this is going to start burning big time. Big time. So good for Ethereum. Of course, just yesterday, Jed, I was told not DJed, Jed, was released, right? And attracts over 27 million ADA, right? So Cardano is boosting their DeFi ecosystem. There's like 40 partnerships waiting to partner with Jed and Cody, right? This is all fantastic stuff, and it's only the beginning. Only the beginning for Cardano. There you go. There you go. All right. So Bitcoin is still at 23.9. Overall crypto market cap still looking good. Today's a good day. Today is a good day. All right. That's it. I brought up my DCA portfolio. I'm not going to DCA anymore today because I accidentally did it yesterday. Or maybe it wasn't an accident. I did it on purpose. Regardless, yesterday I was down negative 31%. Now I'm only down 28%. You can see within 24 hours, portfolio went up about 5%. For the week, up about 8%, 9%. And for the month, up about 60%. So coming closer and closer to reaching parity and breaking through. This is the power of DCA, okay? I didn't do any fancy charts, didn't do any fancy trading, didn't do any fanciness. All I did was put $100 every Wednesday, and you could see it's starting to come back in a major way. And that's the whole point of DCA. You take the guessing out of it. All right, let's do some Q&A. Losing my voice today because I've been streaming so much. Scrolling up here, got Howard Rourke, a new member. Welcome. Thanks for joining. Welcome to the George Club. Miles says, thank you, George. I'll never sell. That sounds like a good plan. And Jungle F, wow, big super chat, solid stuff as always. Be sure to shout out Kevin in Texas. He claims he's your nephew, just looks like you. He's not my nephew. I only have one nephew, and he's not in Texas. So I don't know who that imposter is. Thoughts on Adam will hit $65 the next bull run. Adam, $65? That's 5x from here? Yeah, for sure. Next bull run, end of 2025, it will be way higher than $65, in my opinion. 5x is only the beginning. Cosmos needs to do like almost a 10x just to get back to its previous high. And that's just to get back to previous high, not to break through and form a new high. So very, very easily. Very easily. What's the glove all about in my background? You don't know what this glove is? It's my Infinity's gauntlet. All right, I'm not trying to give you guys the middle finger. Or am I? Oh, no, I didn't mean to do that, guys. Would you rather stake Jenna coin or Kobe coin? You know what? I can't answer that. That's just that's entrapment right there. Phantom will be the next the star of the next bull run. Phantom has been doing really well. I've told you guys I've supported Phantom for a while, ever since Andre came back. They've been on a roll, so obviously he's having effect. Joseas, is that how you say it? Appreciate it. That glove is expensive. That glove is expensive. Way more than it should be, but I got it on sale, so. VeChain looking at changing leadership around? I didn't hear about that. I didn't hear about that. I do want to I want to do some more research on that. I haven't been this excited since early in 2021. Well, don't expect a crazy pump, okay, to 50,000. Although some people are anticipating that we could pump crazily 40 to 50,000 by like March, April, May, right? I don't think we're going to go up that much. I think best case scenario is we pump to 30,000. We stay there for a while. We could stay there for 6 months until the end of the year. Then we start seeing more traction. I'm perfectly okay with it. My fear is we go up too high and then we come back down, right? But it's certainly more exciting. And it's certainly more probable that we're going to see gains this year because of what Powell said today. I mean, honestly, he said some good stuff. I have no doubt tomorrow we could see a tremendous market pump, like a crazy market pump all around. Today was that good. Please research Z protocols, space advertising, NFTs. They paid for Doge 1 mission. I don't know what a Doge 1 mission is. I may look at it later. Ahmed, thank you. Thoughts on Litecoin strength recently? Zero thoughts on it. If you want to store value, go with Bitcoin. That's it. If you want to store value, go with Bitcoin, not a copycat like Litecoin. Please invite Elon to the show. Sure, I'll invite him to the show. I'll entice him with something. What can you offer to a man that has everything, or the ability to buy everything? When will I get back to mining? Never. There's, in my opinion, it's better to just buy the crypto that you're trying to mine rather than spend the time and money and effort to try to get all the rigs up and stuff like that. Leave that to the big boys, the miners. And then concentrate on investing into the coins that you like. What do you think would happen if Ripple wins and the Fed pivots within a year? Would that make the market space afraid of good news? Why would you be afraid of that? That's like a double win. Why would you be afraid of that? Johnny, for some time, you've been asking a lot of bearish questions. And again, you're trying to freak yourself out, it sounds like, for no good reason. I don't know what it is, but enjoy what we have. Don't overthink it. If Ripple wins, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. It's going to send XRP to the moon. It's going to send an entire crypto up to the moon. And I think they will win because SEC just lost this big thing against Library, right? And if Fed pivots this year, which will probably come, but it's not a matter if, it's a matter of when. Is it going to be later this year or sometime in the middle? It's a matter of when. And it will happen. And it will be good. What's your price expectation for BTC today? I think we're already seeing that. I mean, if breaking above this 24.3 is not going to be easy. This is a major support. The bears did not want to lose this. The bears really want to not lose this. This was our previous high. You could see over here back in August. And this is before the whole FTX shenanigans happened, right? So breaking through this, there's not much space between here and 29,000, 30,000. So the bears did not want this to happen, right? But it's not really up to them. The bullish momentum is going to cause a lot more short squeezes, going to cause a lot more wreckage to the bears. It's just a matter of time. But we may, stay around here for a little bit, okay? But it's just a matter of time breaking through this and then trending up to 30,000. What can IRS do when you move assets to cold storage? Does exchange report you? No, they don't. You could move it to cold storage and try to hide your gains. But one day you're going to need to sell it, right? One day you're going to spend it. And you don't want to wait for the day that you become a millionaire for the IRS to catch you, because then they will impose some serious fines. If you're a small fish, they don't care. If you're a big whale, they care. So eventually, if you transfer into a centralized exchange or you even spend it, let's say you want to buy a house or something with it, they will be monitoring that. So don't think that you're just going to fool everyone by moving in cold storage, unless you really don't plan on moving it like Satoshi and then just keeping it forever, which I know that's not the plan for you. What color Civic are you getting? I was thinking that it would be kind of cool because I test drove the previous Civic Type R, and I love that. I thought it was a really fun car. The new one just came out, right? But it's hard to find, and dealers are marking it up. But that would be a perfectly fine car as a daily driver. I'm sure this new one is even better than the old one. The old one was just really fun. It was fast. It was comfortable, right? It has that 6-speed, one of the best in the industry. The new one wouldn't be bad. Everyone focuses on Lambos and stuff. But, you know, getting a Civic Type R, that's a nice car. That's a nice car. What do you think about Doge with Twitter? I think when they announce it, it'll be big. I think it'll be huge. Have I ever been in Miatas? No. Never really been into JDM or Rice cars. Mostly muscle cars. The S2000 fetches a high resale value right now. If you have a clean one, they go for a lot of money. What do you think about Michael Burry saying sell? Did you not see that he deleted his account, my man? He deleted it because he couldn't take the shame of being so wrong. And plus, I bet he was liquidated today. I have no doubt he put on a huge $1 billion short and he got wrecked. That's probably why. Johnny, I've been through this so many times I can't remember. Every time it comes up, no one believes it until we get so high and then people declare it's bottom. That's the only way you get confirmation, right? But I've been through it many times. This is how it always is. You recover really fast, especially being oversold for so long. This is how it is. But, you know, it's not always like straight up to the moon, right? At some point, we'll probably retrace a little bit. We saw this in 2019. Bitcoin went from 3,000 to 14,000. Then it started coming back down to like 10,000 again. So can we see something? If we shoot up to like 40 or 50,000, then I would say for sure we'll go retrace down. But, you know, if we stay here for a little bit, you know, we stay around 30,000 for a little bit, maybe a few months, then Bitcoin gets ready for the next leg up. Do you think BTC will revisit 16K next 6 months? No. No. How do I track portfolio on ITrustCapital? You can just call in. You can just do it with the portfolio app. You don't have to depend on iTrust or anyone else to give you. Well, they should, but you know, you could use like a portfolio tracker like Delta investment app. That's what I use, and just manually plug it in, and I'll tell you everything: how low you bought it, what your cost average is, and everything like that. What car should I buy for 60K? Nissan GTR or what other? GTR is old school, man. Like, I don't know. I just don't. I have no feelings towards a GTR. For 60K, I don't know. You wait out a little bit. You buy a new Corvette Stingray. You know, they're coming down to the 70s. I see some in the 70s now, right? Spend a little more, get a Corvette. Much better car. Do I like Audi RS cars? Yeah, but M cars are better than RS cars. So if you want something that drives the best, for Germans, it's BMWs. What SUV should I buy for 10K? I don't know. For 10K, get a 4Runner with 250,000 miles. You'll probably get that for 10K. You can still get a good condition one, and that'll still probably last you longer than a lot of other SUVs out there. Mercedes is, you know, when it comes to prestige, brand recognition, it's Mercedes. And Mercedes in between. It drives better than Audis, but it doesn't drive as good as BMWs. Mercedes also looks better than BMWs, but doesn't look as good as Audis. But in terms of price, Mercedes commands a premium over the two because they're Mercedes, and they could do that. Am I getting solar on a new house? No. Because the payback on solar is so horrible, there's no point to it. The new Corvettes are dope, but they moved past being every man's American muscle car. Well, I don't think the Corvette was ever meant to be every man's muscle car. A Mustang and Camaro, they were. Corvette was supposed to be above. Not everyone could afford it, which is why the average age for a Corvette owner is like 65, right? Because you really couldn't afford it. But, you know, these days, there's a lot more money swashing around, so a lot more young kids buying Corvettes, and Corvettes are getting much better now. The new Stingray is amazingly good. The Z06 is even more amazing, which I have not driven either one. I've been trying to, but if the price ever come down to even MSRP levels, I'll probably snag up one of the new Z06s. We need a fast forward button to the next BTC halving. You know, if you haven't watched that movie, the old movie from Adam Sandler named Click, where he had a remote control to fast forward, you should watch it and learn from that. You don't want to fast forward through all the hardships and just go to the good, because then you would miss out on a lot. If you have muscle but drive a Camry, is it still a muscle car? No. No, it's not. Although the Camry TRD is actually pretty cool. Pretty cool looking Camry. And it sounds pretty good too. And it drives better than any Camry. But I don't see anyone buying that. Do you think McCaffey is still alive? He would buy FTM. I don't think he would. Well, maybe. He was a Bitcoin maxi, then turned against it. And no, I don't think he's alive. Is there a way to send tokens back and forth between Ethereum and BNB chain? I don't think a bridge exists between Ethereum and BNB yet. I may be wrong on that, but I don't know of any. Man, we're so close to breaking it. Hey, tomorrow may be the day. Tomorrow may be the day when we break through 24.3, and then we'll be heading towards 30,000. We will see. We will see. The pre-market, NASDAQ, tech still doing good. Dow's not doing good. You know why? You know why? I don't know if you guys know this. The reason why NASDAQ did so well and Dow didn't do anything is because all these traders are going back to tech, going back to risk on assets because of the improving macro conditions. right? For a long time, NASDAQ was sold off and all that money went into the Dow, the commodities and the stable, stable companies. But now, today, you see a big reversal. And tomorrow could be a big reversal too, because look at how big NASDAQ is, almost plus 1%, and Dow is down, right? So we may see a shift back into risk on assets starting today. Fantastic. All right, guys, smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tomorrow, bright and early, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.